All right, let's see. We have another one here. What is the ratio of 10 feet to 30 inches? 10 feet to 30 inches. What is that? What is that ratio? Well, what's the first thing I would do here?
Convert foot to inch.
Convert something. I don't know. What are you going to convert? Feet or inches?
10 inches.
10 feet is how many inches?
120.
120 to
30.
30. So now what do I do?
Divide both sides by 30.
Divide both sides by 30?
Or
We're just back to a ratio problem.
yeah.
10, just 100 over 10.
What
Right.
if you get it to
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say the same thing. Divide both sides by 30. Or make it an improper fraction, which is 120 over 30, which is the same thing as we just did there, because this is going to equal 1, so it's 2, 1. So 120 divided by 30 is 40 to 1. 40 to 1. All right. No, that's not right at all. 4 to 1. There you go, 4 to 1. All right. What is the ratio of a gasoline fuel load? So gas fuel load. I don't know where I get these things. Fuel load of 200 gallons to one of 1,680 pounds. What are you going to do with that mess? I think I actually got this off the FAA. Yes, what are we going to do with that mess?
Do we use the standard conversion for pounds to gallons?
Yes, we do.
6 pounds.
That is something that you just have to commit to memory. It's just 6 pounds. So aviation gasoline weighs 6 pounds per gallon. So
Is that
6 pounds.
exact? Is that like exact?
No, it is not.
That's
And it
just
depends on the temperature too. But it's a recognized standard for gasoline, not Jet A.
like the standard passenger weighs 170.
Yep. And we probably have very few standard passengers in here.
I'm like 2 standard passes.
Yeah, see?
Right.
All right, so we have to convert this to pounds. Well, I think this is probably the easiest one to do right here, 6. So 200 times 6 is 1,200 pounds. Now we have 1,200 pounds to 1,680 pounds. And what can we do? Improper fraction it. So 1,680 divided by 1,200. Or, as Nicholas said, just divide both sides by 1,200. And we're going to end up with a 1. So what do we end up with?
1.4 to
1.4 to 1. Did everybody get 1.4 to 1? And you are well on your way to acing this test. We haven't got to my favorite question yet. I made that one up. All right, maximum life for a certain part is 1,000 hours. I'm sorry, 1,100. That's the max life. That's your max life. Max life. Max life of a part. I'm sorry, maybe I started a little early. Recently, 15 of these parts, 15 of them, were removed from different aircraft with an average life of 835.3 hours. What percent of the maximum life has been achieved? So these parts right here, what percent? So we can set it up as a ratio. Again, I say ratio. 1,100 is what?
The max life.
What is max life? 100%. 100%. Then what goes on the other side? 835.3, because you want the hours on top and the percent on the bottom, and this would be X percent. Okay. Now again, I think Nicholas, because he's sitting right there, and he said, somebody said, if you don't change it to 1, you're going to deal with, I'm going to say this, you're going to deal with larger numbers, but you don't have to convert in and out of percent. I like the smaller numbers. I feel I don't mess up as easy, and they won't fat finger the keys, but you could do that. So we have 835.3 times, I'll say 1, because 835 equals that. 1100 x, 1100x. We divide both sides by 1100, and we get x equals 0.7594. We'll just stop there, 0.759. But we wanted a percentage, and what percent is that?
75.9%.
So 75.9%. What is 79 point? What did that mean? What was that?
That is the percentage of those parts that are, that's,
Percent of life reached.
percentage of the
Or percent of max life reached.
That is the percent of its life. It only reached 75.9% of its life.
Wait, you said remove. Does that mean like
They took it out.
they had to remove it, or they just swapped it out?
Oh, that thing is bad. Better pull it. Oh, well, okay. And this one had, this one had 500 hours, and the next one had 700 hours, and the next one had 600 hours, and they did all that, but they said it's an average. So how do we get it? What's the average of those three numbers I just gave you?
Add the 3 together.
We're going to add all three of them up. So what's that?
600. Oh, it's 1800.
1800. I'm just going to take his word for it. Divided by
3.
1, 2, 3, the number we did, and then we get the average right there. Which would be what, 600? Yeah. Should be, because I went up and up. Okay. Let's see. How much current, oh boy, now we're talking about, how much current does a current 30 volt, 1/2 horsepower motor that is 85% efficient draw from the bus? The question actually says draw from the bus. A bus, in electrical terms, is the power strip, if you will. So, there we go. This is the bus. So on an aircraft, it's just a strip of metal where the power comes in and everything is taken off of it. So that's just another way.
So the bus is hot?
Yes, it is. There's power to it. It's not, ooh, that's hot.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
room temperature.
There's enough power.
All right, so first we need to understand motors. Motors are rated in output. So motors, electrical motors, MOT. Technically, a motor is an electrical thing. An engine is a gasoline thing, even though my aircraft has a Continental Motors produced engine. So electrical motors are rated in output. And I'm just going to warn you right now, this is one of these questions, if you don't get, you better say something, because, well, you're going to see them all again, but there's so many electrical questions on my test, on the Q&As that deal with this type of thing. So motors are rated in output. But the question asks, I'll put that, but the question asks, how much does it draw? How much current does it draw? Does it draw? That is input. Got it? It's asking what the input is. What is the output? Half horsepower is the output. Motors are always rated in output. You think about it. If you're a motor sales guy, and I need a motor that's going to do X number of, I need a motor that's going to, drive this big machine. Well, how much horsepower do you need? I need a half horsepower. I need a 1 horsepower to drive this big machine. Well, if they gave you one that wasn't efficient and it drew 1 horsepower but only put out half a horsepower, you're going to be kind of pissed. So you got to match that. Now, as a salesperson, you have to tell them how inefficient it is. It draws like, 8 million watts to do it, but it'll move that. You don't want to know until you get your bill. Not my problem. All right, so let's see. Another way to look at this is output. Output. So wow, I'm just like all over the place tonight. output. Output. That's the word I wanted to write. Output is what? What is our output according to the question? What percent?
85%.
Okay, output is 85%. And input is percent. What's my input?
Oh, 100%.
100%. Input is 100%. So I'm going to take 100% of what I'm taking from the power company. I'm going to operate this motor that's not very efficient, so it's going to produce some work and some heat. So the heat is my efficiency loss. So I get 85% work out of it, and then 15% heat energy is lost. So the output is only 85%, but I got to put in 100%. So follow me so far? Okay. So we have a half, and then it's always given to you that 746 watts equals 1 horsepower. That's always going to be a given on the FAA tests. You don't have to memorize that, but I guarantee you'll probably memorize that just because you're dealing with it in this class so much. 746 watts equals 1 horsepower. So given that factor, now we can look at it. What is my wattage output? What is my output?
371.5.
So I have a 1/2 horsepower. 1/2 horsepower. How much? How many watts for 1 horsepower? 746 watts. So that equals, what is my horsepower output, or what is my wattage output? Wattage output.
371.5.
371.5 is my.
Oh wait. 373. Sorry.
You lied to me.
Yeah.
Not believe you anymore. Now I've got scribbles everywhere. Won't go away. Let's use my eraser. Oh, there it went. What's the answer? Somebody else tell me.
373.
373. It's right in front of me. All I do is read it. 373 watts. Everybody follow me so far?
Yes, sir.
I just went up here. I have a 1/2 horsepower motor output. How many watts is that?
The half of the what 1 horsepower watt is. So half of 746.
So it's 343. So I could rewrite the question and say, I have let me see. How much current does a 30 volt, 373 watt motor that is 85% efficient draw from the bus? See what I did there? I just took that horsepower and converted it to watts. So now I have a usable number. Yeah.
So the 85%.
We haven't worked it yet.
Okay.
We haven't got there yet. We're still trying to figure out where to start. Where to start is convert everything to watts. Get my watts. Got your watts? How many watts is my motor?
373.
I have a 373 watt motor. That's where we wanted to start. Okay, now we can move on with that. So we have 373 watts. We're just going to set up a ratio. Well, we're going to do that. Let me think this through. We want to figure out what the input is, right? Okay. Input is what percent? 100%. Is the 373 input or output? Output. And the output is what? 85%. And so my input is what percent? 100% is my input. I'm trying to figure out my inputs. There we go. Yeah.
The input will always be 100%?
Always. And output will always be the lesser of percent. If it didn't work that way, oh, my electric car would be so much better if it actually put out,
It wouldn't be a problem in the world.
Yeah, our whole yeah. So if you put in 10 amps and you got 100 out, that would be perpetual motion. So yes. So again, just to kind of make sure everybody's with me, we convert this horsepower into wattage, and we know that the input is less than the output. You don't get a free lunch. You never get something for nothing. So if I put in 10 watts of power, I'm only going to get out 8 watts of power, or in this case, 8.5 watts to be exact. If I put in 100 watts of power, how much power do I get out of this one? 85 watts. Everybody see that? It's 80, okay, but they give us different numbers. We're like, well, we're going to do that. Well, we figured it out. So we know that 373, which is just a half horsepower, I just converted it, is 85% efficient. That's what I get out of it, 85%. So this is input. Let me see. I'm sorry. This is input. This is in. This is out. I put in. So I'm trying to figure out what I put in. So all we have to do here, you recognize it, is cross multiply. So we have 0.85x equals 373. And now we just divide by 0.85, 0.85. And so we end up with
438.82.
x equals 438.2.
82.
438.82. Okay, 438.82. Well, so what? What does that mean?
That's how many watts we
That's how
put
many
as
watts,
the
but we're looking for
input.
current.
That is input. So we input 438, let's call it 438 watts. We input 438 watts. What was the question?
We're looking for current.
Current.
How much current? Well, thankfully, you've all had 309. So E, I, R, and P. P is that much. And what did they give me? Something up here about 30.
Volts.
30 volts. So 30 volts. They give me the resistance? No. That's not very helpful. So we need a formula. Remember that guy Ohm? Who said E equals I over R? All right, is that helpful?
No.
It is not helpful. What is helpful?
Pi.
I like pi.
Yummy.
I like pi. It's actually P equals I times E. We can manipulate it around. So we know that P, we have P, we have E, we need I. So it is power
Divided by 30.
divided by 30. So my current is
You get 14.63 amps.
14.63 amps. I didn't even write down the answer. I don't even let's just do it. So there we go. Not hard. It's very, very simple. Each little step is super simple. Just remember to do little steps. That's not helpful to say, that is it? We'll end up doing some more of those, I think. Well, we can do one more right now. You want to do another one? Okay. Okay, give me some numbers. We're going to make it up. We'll say we have a 24-volt system. 24-volt system. And we have a motor that is, we'll say it's a 3/4 horsepower motor that is, what percent efficient? 75% efficient. What is the current draw? And what's the thing that you're always given that you'll eventually remember?
746 watts and 1 horsepower.
1 horsepower equals 746 watts. So step number 1 is what? Or should I just be quiet and let you figure it out? We got to figure out our horsepower into watts. All right, done? I'm done is the answer 4? I'm quick. I'm just not accurate. This is not very exciting for people watching on YouTube, I'll tell you what.
Well, they get to work with us,
Wow.
right?
right?
Yes, that's right. Instead of saying pause and do this on your own and then restart the video, which I would never do.
Just play Jeopardy music, go in and
I know.
add it, post
I used to
it.
have sound things on my phone, but crickets was my favorite. When nobody would answer, I'd hit the cricket thing. All right, I see a lot of you writing diligently. I think Serena's just writing a note to her mom. Shopping list back there. Kyle's back there. He's just writing things on his calculator. He keeps turning it upside down, see what he spelled. Well, I don't know what the answer is, so we're going to have to find out together. All right, step one.
Figure out
Get her
what
power outputs.
Figure out your convert.
convert the 3/4 horsepower to watts.
Okay, so 4 times 746 equals.
5.9.5.
Well, it's really hard when somebody starts right in the middle of something. 559.5 watts. Okay, so we got that handled. Now we're going to set up our ratio, is what I would do. So I'll start with 559.5 over what?
75%.
75%. And then I want to know, what's my ratio here?
X over 100%.
X over 100%. All right, cross multiply. So 559.5 times 100% is 559.5, and x times 0.7, 75% is 0.75x equals, so we'll divide both sides by 0.75, which leaves me with x equals 746 watts. Wow. How did that happen? Because it's 3/4 0.75. But if you didn't get that, all right, and now we have E, I, R, and P. P is what? 746. E was 24 volts. And so we have P over IE. So we have P, 746, divided by 24 equals a current of 31.08 amps. And if you don't put the amps, then I won't know. All right. Almost my favorite question coming up. All right, the parts department's profit is 12%. You can sell parts, you get a profit of 12% on every new part. How much does the part cost? How much does the part cost if, is how much money? If selling price is 145.60.
What is the part cost if the selling price is 145.60?
How much does the part cost how much do the part cost the company if they sold it for 145.6? Now this one will get you into trouble. Because what is my ratio?
I feel like putting 145.60 over 100% is a trick question.
That is correct. 145.6 over 100 is incorrect.
Would it be over 112?
It is over 112, and it has to be that way. It is 112% because the selling cost, it cost me 100%. And I sold it to you for 112%.
Wow.
Low profit margin.
So what you're trying
Yeah.
to find is what the 100% is. So you do equals X over 100.
Equals X over 100. What did I pay for it? That is the key to this one. And if you don't do that right, you'll never get it right because the way percentages work. You know, it's an easy way to kind of explain percentage is, you know, your 401k, stock market, something like that. Let's say you have, you know, a lot of money. Let's say you had $1,000 in stocks, and $1,000 in the market, and the market went down by 50% today. So how much did you lose?
Lost $500.
So you lost $500 because it went down 50%. But good news, the very next day the stock market went right back up 50%. So now how much money do you have? $750.
Gotta love it.
You see, that's percentage. It went down 50%. 50% of 1,000 is 500. So you lost 500, so now you have 500. But it went back up 50%. But 50% of 500 is 250. So you only gained 250. So that's why percentages matter. That's why you can't, because some people say, well, I've been asked, why can't I just say the customer paid 100% and then you paid, what? 88%. Why it doesn't work that way because the way percentages go. So what did this company pay for that? So it's 145.6 equals 1.12x. Divide both sides by 1.12. 1.12. So yes, 140. What is it?
$130.
130 equals x. They paid 130. Oh, yep. So they paid 130. All right. Let me see. Yes. All right. I made up this question. You are working for a shop that gives you a 10% bonus on all parts you sell. 10% bonus on all parts you sell. Everything you sell, you get 10%. The trick is you receive 10% of the company's profits. Can't give you 10% of the whole thing. So whatever, I'll be the company. So whatever I sell, I have my markup. I'll give you 10% of what my markup is. So, all right, where am I here? Okay, 10%. So company marks up all parts. So company marks up all parts 30%. You just sold me a case of oil, Phillips XC 2050 to be exact. So I just got a case of Phillips XC 2050 oil from you, and I had to pay, I'm the customer, I had to pay $85 for that case of oil. What is your bonus? What is your bonus?
$2.55.
$2.55. Let me see. What's step one?
85 over 130.
In plain speak, what's step one?
Take the profit, the percentage, and the markup, and put it over the price the customer paid.
Oh, you're still being a little difficult to. Is obtuse the word?
It's hard to see because it's all up. So
Oh, now he's just complaining about everything.
I'm like, I forgot everything.
Well, that was everything to me right there. What is the first thing you need to figure out in plain speak?
Find that cost price.
The what?
Find that cost price. How
Find,
much you paid for it.
find out how much the company paid for it, or another way of looking at it, because all you care about is your bonus. What is your bonus based on? So, so first thing I want to know is what is the company's profit? What did they pay for? What is their profit? So how am I going to figure that out?
You do $85.
Can I move this? You've ruined your day now, so it doesn't matter, huh? Okay, so I want to know what the company paid. So they paid $85 was the sale price, and what percent is that?
130%.
That was 130%. Everybody know why it's 130%?
Yes, sir.
They had a 30% markup. So I can't be the customer and I'll be the boss. I'll be the bad guy, and you have to be the customer.
Okay.
So you bought the case of oil.
Can I return it?
No, there's no returns because I already gave him his $2.25. So you bought the case. It's a good deal, by the way. It's only been used for a couple hours. So you bought the oil for $85. You're trying to figure out what I paid for it because he wants his bonus, right? And it's all in that middle ground. So it's 130%. So I bought it for 100%. The company sold it to him for 130%, which is the $85. So you got to figure out, what did I pay? Well, the easiest way is just to walk in and say, hey, boss, what'd you pay for that oil? But I'm like, I'm not telling you. All right. So, and 740, no, that's 746 is a different problem. So I'm just messing with you. So we need to figure out then what I paid the company, which is, what's the rest of this equation then?
X over 100%.
X over 100%. All right. So we cross multiply. We get 85, because 85 times 1 equals 1.3x. We'll divide both sides by 1.3. And so x equals how much? 65.38. Let me say, yes, he is correct. 65.38. I actually wrote that down. 65. So what is 65.38?
That's the original
Wholesale
cost.
price.
That's what I paid. What was my, before paying his commission, what is my profit?
$19.62.
Where did we get that from?
You subtract 65.
We just go 85 minus 65, and we get how much? 19.62. So I made, as the company, $19.62. What is your bonus? What is your bonus?
10% of that.
10%. So all we have to do is multiply that times 10%. And you made how much?
196.
$1.96. But wait, there's taxes involved.
Son of a.
Yeah, let's see.
What's that, 7%?
Well, if you're on a tax rate of 20%, which would be pretty low, if you're on a tax rate, let's say you had to pay 20% taxes, what's left over then?
Nothing.
No, 20%. So
20% of $1.96. So
another way of looking at it is, if you pay the government 20%, how much do you keep? 80%. So times 8 times 0.8. $1.57.
And then you gotta spend some
Well, wait,
sales
don't you gotta
tax.
get your tax refund?
Yeah.
Well, no, then you have your social security
Yeah.
and your
All right.
state.
Man, it looks way better when they just say 10%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounded pretty good up front, didn't it?
Yeah.
Put you on 10% profit sharing plan. How about you just pay me better by the hour?
Yeah, think about it. You sell 100 things a day.
Yeah,
That's $100.
I know.
Plus your $7.25 minimum wage.
Yep. All right.
We're in the government. We do that.
Let's talk about gear ratio problems. So gear ratio. All right, before we go to gear ratio, I just feel like I just want to say this one more time. Just make sure you remember that it's the company's markup is added, right? That's just the big takeaway from all those. What did the company pay? What's the original cost? You just have to get that in there right. So gear ratio. Gear ratio problems use what? What was the big word? Inverse. Use an inverse ratio. Inverse ratio. All right, this is because the little gear spins faster, the big gear spins
Slower.
Okay, they are going to give you the names spur gear and pinion gear. Spur gear and pinion gear. Do not let those names mean anything to you. Call it gear A and gear B. That's all you need to know. Gear S and gear P. It does not matter anything more than that. It's just the names they give the gears. All right, so let's see. We use the same formula, but invert one side. So it would be like spur teeth over, we'll do pinion teeth, equals pinion speed over spur speed. See how it's inverted now? So if it wasn't, it would be spur, pinion, spur, pinion. But now it's spur, pinion, pinion, spur. And it doesn't matter which way you do it as long as they're opposites. So, all right. And so, yeah, notice in cross multiplying, you're always multiplying the same gear. So you multiply the spur times the spur and the pinion times the pinion. You're never multiplying a pinion times a spur. So if you can get that right, you're going to be okay. So what is the speed of a spur gear? What is the speed of a spur gear with 42 teeth driven by, and it doesn't matter, but who's driving or whatever, driven by a pinion gear with 14 teeth turning 420 RPM. So we'll set it up like this. Do spur, pinion, pinion, spur. It's easy to get them mixed up. So what do I have? And we could even do like spur teeth, pinion teeth, spur RPM, and pinion RPM. All right, so the spur teeth. How many teeth did that spur gear have?
42.
How many teeth did the pinion have?
14.
What was the RPM of the pinion?
420.
And the speed of the spur is
X.
unknown, right? Unknown. Cross multiply. 42x equals 14 times 420. 5880. Am I correct?
Yep.
We are going to then both sides by 42, where x equals 140 RPMs. We could then verify 42 over 14 is equal to 420 over 140. And 42 divided by 14 is 3. And 420 divided by 140 is 3. You can just see that added the little 0 into 0. So it's same. So we did it. So 3 equals 3. That is a correct statement. Therefore, we did it correctly. Woohoo! What is the speed ratio? Oh, this is a little bit different. Wait a minute, is that the same question here? The speed of a spur gear. No, okay. What is the speed ratio of an input gear with 36 teeth? 36 teeth driving a spur gear. I'm sorry. What is the speed ratio of an input gear with 36 teeth meshed to a gear with 20 teeth? What is the speed ratio between the two gears?
20,
36 over 20, says the man.
which is 1.8 to 1.
1.8 to 1. Everybody should have just saw it like that. If you did, awesome. Hey, before I forget, you know that packet of stuff I handed out? I said, hey, that all the stuff, all the answers are in Canvas. So any practice thing I've given you, I've also put the answers in Canvas. Let's see. A pinion gear with 14 teeth, a pinion gear with 14 teeth is driving a spur gear with 42 teeth. Did we just do this one? At 140 RPM. Yeah, I think we did. That's the same one. I must have just duplicated it.
It's an inverse.
Just an okay. It's because I got out the Q&A, so just inverse. But while we're here, so it's we'll say pinion spur, spur pinion, and we'll put teeth 14 here, 42 here. This is the speed is 140. That is x, so it's 14x equals 42 times 140. 5880 from before. Divide both sides by 14. And we get x equals 420. X equals 420, which I think was the question in the last one. So, all right. Are we good with that, I hope?
Yeah.
All right, so we can move on. Do a little bit with area and volume. Area and volume. Okay, I feel that I have to do this one more time. What is this shape? And if I said, and what is this right here?
Square.
It's a square. So if I had this question that said an acre, I know what an acre is, I can spell it, equals 43,560 square feet. What is the dimensions of a square? I believe it was something like, was it 630 times 63?
66 times 660
Sorry, 66
times 660.
660 equals 43,560. Therefore, it came up that 43,560. So that's what the problem says. If a parcel of land measures 66 by 660 is 1 acre, 43,560, then what is a square one? And a lot of you just put, oh, well, that's just 66 by 660. And that would be
Weird square.
wrong. So we're trying to figure out what number times what number equals 43,560. So what number times what number equals 43,560? It's kind of like saying what number times what number equals 9. Well, another way of figuring that out would be square root of 9 is 3 times 3. So maybe we could just do the square root. Second square root of 43,560 equals.
Wait. It would change.
So what do we get?
208.71.
28.71 by
208.71.
28.71. All right, then the other question says, what if it's a circle? And if you're flying around, you now see that there's a lot of circle crops growing and stuff. And so that's simple. We want to know a circle. And this area is 43,560. And I'm asking, what is the diameter or the radius? The radius is this right here. Yeah. So we just go back to the formula, which we'll talk about area a little bit. Area equals pi times the radius squared. Well, what do we know? We know the area is 43,560 equals pi times the radius squared. So now we just solve for this.
Divide each side by pi.
Divide each side by pi. So if I get this and this, put pi there and pi there, what do we get here? 43,560 divided by the pi key equals 13865 point, we'll call it 6. Equals, well, the pi cancel each other out, so that's radius squared.
Cancel out the square root both sides.
Well, I got to get rid of this little 2 right here, that's square. So how to get rid of that over here?
Square root of 130.
Square root. Well, if I'm going to do that there, I got to do it here. So now I just need the, clear. Second square root. I think answer should get it. Second answer equals 117?
Yeah.
117.8 equals the radius. What if I want the diameter?
Multiply it by 2.
Multiply it by 2. I'm going to get the diameter. 235.5. 235.5 equals the diameter. Now we know the dimensions of both a square and a circle. if I have enough time to do this, let me see. What if I ask some crazy question that said, I'm trying to make this up as I go. There's a sprinkler that's watering this because it's sod, and there's a little wheel right here. How many miles or how many feet does that wheel have to go around every time? You can make up some question like, we have to grease the wheel every 1,000 feet. How many feet does it go around that circle? What is that?
Circumference 2 pi r.
Circumference equals
2 pi r.
I like
No,
pi.
pi times diameter.
I like pi times diameter. It's just easier for me to remember. It's not that you're wrong. So I convert it so the circumference, which is how far it goes around, equals pi times the diameter. What's the diameter?
739.8.
Didn't we figure it out right here is the diameter? 235.5, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
235.5, which is still sitting in my calculator, times pi equals 739.9 feet. So that little wheel right here is going to go around 739.9 feet every time it goes around. And if we have to grease it every 1,000 feet, we would have to grease it every time we're going around. Just sit there at the little bench. All right. Good day, I think.